And now I would like to welcome Ellen de Geest. She is advisor of Development Cooperation, and particularly focusing on the themes public health, health rights, and gender. And she's working at the cabinet of Minister de Croo, who is one of the deputy ministers, and who is also the Minister of Deputy Prime Minister, excuse me, and one of and the Minister of Development Cooperation. Unfortunately, Minister de Croo couldn't be here today, but we are very happy that Ellen de Geest can speak on his behalf. And this is great because at the eve of Pentecost, we always need the Geest, the Spirit in English, to be amongst us for some inspiring words. Please, Ellen, the floor is yours.
Thank you for the introduction. And first and for all, of course, Minister de Croo apologizes. He would have liked to be here, but he couldn't. So he asked me indeed to address you a few words on his behalf. And I'm very happy to do so because, of course, the topics of this conference, both health and education, are immensely important. And they are, for many children and youth across the world, the two sides of the same coin. And therefore, they're also two main priorities of the Belgian Development Cooperation. But first, let me also welcome you all, and particularly, of course, Mr. Strickland, our keynote speaker of today, the panelists this morning, the experts who will be sharing their knowledge in the breakout sessions this afternoon, and of course, Maartje and Tim, who organized this whole conference. And let me also start with an ancient saying, mens sana in corpore sano. So the link between health and education is not something we're coming up now, here and now, suddenly, but it's something that is well known for a long time. So we should really work on it in combination. And it's true that, of course, in sectors and ministries are separate, and that makes sense. But of course, they have to work together, otherwise they don't serve the needs of the children and the adolescents, in particularly girls. And therefore, I also think that, of course, the Agenda 2030 indicates very clearly that all sustainable development goals are interconnected, and one cannot be separated from the other. I think everybody here is very convinced that quality education is very important if we want to reach sustainable development. But also children who are healthy, who are well-nourished, they do better in school, they participate, they attend, they are attentive, and it influences one and the other. I read that in low and middle income countries, an estimated 500 million days of school are due to sickness, so the link is very clear. I think over the past 15 years, there has been a lot of progress. Many millions of children have started going to school, got access to primary school, but yet 264 million children are unable to go to school. And a lot of more millions of children go to school, but they don't learn at an adequate level. It is just not satisfactory. They don't learn enough to have a good basis to progress in life afterwards. And there are many reasons for that, of course. There is poverty, conflicts, living in a rural area, but also sometimes simply the fact of being a girl impedes children to go to school. Worldwide, there are twice as many girls as boys who are missing out on secondary school. And that, of course, has a huge impact on the girls themselves, but also on the whole society of where these girls live. Because in every society, the education is a crucial leverage for development. Better educated girls and women, they are healthier, they live longer, and they have higher income. And they also have their first child later in life, and they have less children in the whole course of their life. In Mali, for example, women who have been to secondary school have an average of 3 children in their lives, while women who have not gone to school have an average of, who have went to secondary school have 3 children, and women who have not been to school have an average of 7 children, which is, of course, a big difference. And not only do they have less children, but those children are also healthier, better nourished, better educated. In sub-Saharan Africa, a child of a mother who knows how to read, who is literate, has twice the chance of a child of an illiterate mother to reach the age of 5 years old, which is, of course, a huge difference. So it's a vicious circle, but it's a positive vicious circle. The better the mother is educated, the healthier she is, the better educated and the healthier are her children. So it's a very positive influence. But then, of course, like I said before, the schooling has to be effective. So also it's important to invest in school health programs so the children who are in school are healthy. We have seen very effective examples like malaria prevention, water and sanitation, school feeding. So investing in those programs is really helping the children to learn more and to be better prepared for later in life. And another thing I want to add is that we have to make sure that schools are safe environments, both for girls and for boys. But we see that for girls, it's often more problematic than for boys. So that's also something I want to stress. And then, of course, it's very obvious that health and education contribute directly to gender equality. A woman who is better educated, who is healthy, and who is economically independent, who has her own income, can stand up for herself, make her own choices, and including on her sexual and reproductive health, but on all aspects of her life. And gender equality, of course, will benefit both men and women. That's something we are all convinced of, I hope. So we know what to do. We have to work together across the different sectors, across the different ministries you mentioned, so that this generation and the following generations can benefit from a good education and a healthy life. And I think this conference is a very good initiative. And I'm sure that during your exchanges and your panels and your workshops today, many ideas will be shared and good practices. So I wish you a very interesting and fruitful day. And I thank you very much for your attention.
Okay.